Welcome to another edition of Cut the Chat. Usual suspect, sexy dread with the lisp. To my far right.
It's mad because it's not really usual suspects today.
Well, I'm talking about me.
Or usual suspect.
And you.
But you usually say usual, yeah, but it's a bit...
It's me and you.
No, but today is the least usual suspect it's ever been.
What? Another guy? That means my way good show.
Today is
It's gonna be a good show. I was on a little roll there as well.
Alright, sorry, I'll leave you to it. Do your intro.
Do it again.
Yeah. You don't have to, you gotta carry on.
Anyway, to my far right,
Hi guys, hi.
we got Black Specs
Don't know.
in the house. Your colours.
Oh, is it?
It's not.
Oh, done it. Oh gosh. Now you tell me on camera. You don't have to wait till camera come on.
Like this barbershop ain't full of mirrors. Anyway, to my left, if you've been into the barbershop before, you will know that this is the guy that's either talking about female problems, football problems, or
How to dump your girl, really.
how to.
These are true. I'm just the most opinionated barber. That works.
Anyway, if you don't know him, Darren, AK, half orangutan, half human. He's got them orangutan hands. How are you, Darren?
I'm fine. My hands are cool. Talk about hands today.
Say that again?
Do you really want to talk about hands today?
It's your fingers that are the problem.
Ooh, wow.
Anyway,
Everyone's had in their hands now.
yeah.
I'm like,
You know what?
Hands in pockets.
I'm excited about today's show because this has been what? 2 years in the making? Maybe? 2 years in the making. Introduce yourself, sir.
My name's Tunde Okewale. I'm a barrister at Doughty Street Chambers. I'm the founder of an organisation called Urbn Lawyers.
what about you, sir?
Indeed.
I'm a good friend of Tunde's. My name's Arch Electro. I'm a solicitor at Sternberg Reed Solicitors. Been doing it for quite a long time now, and it's good fun. I enjoy it.
Fantastic. Good place to start. A lot of people don't know what's the difference between a solicitor and a barrister.
Barristers have higher rights in terms of they can go to Crown Court. Solicitors can also go to Crown Court, but they have to have higher rights. Barristers can float between magistrates courts as well. Solicitors go to magistrates courts, but the majority of solicitors' work is in the office and doing most of the work to prepare for.
I'm gonna save you, bro, man. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you.
I'm not gonna lie, right now, Cut the Chat is no holds barred.
Alright.
You sinking.
Alright, I'm gonna save you. Okay, historically, there was a distinction between the professions in that solicitors prepared the case and barristers were the advocates in the courtroom. However, that distinction has become almost invisible because solicitors are now going to court and barristers also have the right to go to attend the police station, which they never had before. The only legal difference that remains now is that solicitors have power of attorney, which means they can sign documents on your behalf, they can make decisions on your behalf in terms of your estate, and they can handle client money. Barristers cannot handle clients' money directly.
Okay.
And that's really it. So the difference is really academically technical. Also, barristers dress better in terms of
That's the way.
in terms of in court and out of court. Nah, they always think, man. You never see a bad dressed barrister.
Well,
Ever.
I don't.
You know, but you can't talk about for your profession though. It's
Yeah, but you
different
don't gotta
story.
wear them little wigs.
You wear wigs, so you can have props.
What is it? You can't get a dread one of them?
Nah.
You can't just land like.
This guy's trying to make up his own fashion.
No, because it's them white curly wigs.
Nah,
Like, what do you do? You take them off and put the curlers in them and let them set overnight and.
It's horsehair. It's weave. It's horsehair. Legitimate.
I knew this the reason I hate them.
It's weave. I knew it. It's weave.
Explain that. Why do you have to wear those?
It's history. So my understanding of it is that historically you might have seen that people that were of nobility and aristocracy, I got there in the end, they used to wear wigs. And apparently the bars of profession just retained it. So barristers just retained that custom and tradition. And the reason why they wore gowns is, again, it was a way of making sure that everyone's on a level playing field. So it's a way that when you're in court, there are no distractions, everyone looks the same. So the uniform is done to give everyone that level playing field, so people can't see if you've got a nicer suit than the other individual or not. People can still tell, but that was kind of the idea behind it. And the reason why the gowns are black is that, I can't remember the year, so I don't want to be caught out by giving you an erroneous piece of information. So no, I don't want him to sue me. Is that one of the monarchs died and all of the gowns became black. So in the past, there were different colour gowns, but one of the monarchs died was black as the side of morning. The profession's still morning. That's just
Cool.
That's
Interesting. That's a good start. So are you both criminal lawyers?
No, Tunde's criminal. I do civil.
You do civil.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what again? What's the distinction? For the
don't point to me, man.
what's the distinction?
Civils basically deals with all kinds of areas that don't involve crime, including injunctions, family law, housing law, property, any kind of litigation that's pretty much.
so it's just disputes. Civil just makes disputes.
It's not only money.
We don't make disputes. We handle disputes.
Yeah, but
When they come and complain
just
to us,
disputes and arguments.
Yeah.
Whereas
we sort it out. Basically.
Okay.
So basically, so from what I'm understanding, let's say if I had a girl in the situation and she left and stole my house,
If you can get it,
or if she stole some of my money,
He said
I
if.
phone you.
Hypothetical.
Did you see what he did to you?
Yeah,
No,
if but if I don't know if I was to get into a domestic situation,
That'd be criminal.
I'd call you.
Yeah.
That would be criminal if you beat her up.
No, I'm saying if you steal money off me, I'm trying to get it back.
Yeah.
You know, she's got the TV in the house. I'm saying it's my TV. I'm guessing I have to call you.
Yeah, basically, you come to see us and we find ways to get your property back without you having to go and do your
Clap through windows and
or have to speak to Tunde.
So how do you become, just quickly, how do you become both things? Like what are the steps?
You have two paths, but then ultimately you can either go to do civil or you can go and do criminal. Now some people, they like to argue in court, they enjoy it, so that's what they do.
you do look like that.
Some
You
people
look
like to
like
push.
that guy.
Some people like to push paper.
Yeah.
Some people.
Wow.
No, I just. It's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying. You know.
Are you argumentative?
I don't like keeping it simple.
No,
Are you just argumentative in life?
Why are you
Do you
talking-
think it's a good
But
skill
you know, the
set?
very funny thing is that you know most barristers are failed actors. You know that.
I know.
You know that, right?
I've been.
Are they?
So, you know. Yeah. I mean, no.
So you say what? Femi's a failed actor?
No.
Oh, I can't.
I'm a failed barrister. I'm a failed barrister.
Yeah, and barristers are failed actors.
This guy's trying slide one.
No, but honestly,
But factually, it's true.
It's the theatre of it all, like the
it's
performance.
theatrics, yeah.
So how long have you both been practicing for?
8 years.
In that period, what's been your most interesting case, would you say? But without, obviously, you have to disclose.
Definition of interested.
As in, like the most, what you think,
That's
like,
gripped you,
what
that's-
you think the man them watching at home would be most gripped by.
There were
All girls, we've got girls watching too. Hello, girls.
There are two cases and they're interesting for different reasons. The first one was there was a shooting of a 5-year-old girl in South London.
Oh,
I'm not sure if any of you remember that.
Yeah.
And the reason why that was difficult was because everyone had an opinion about the case and they disliked me for defending the person that was alleged to have shot her.
okay.
So that was tricky because I was going into the Central Criminal Court and you had Sky News, like you had press just waiting every day. And in terms of pressure, it was very difficult because the world was watching literally. So that was a very difficult case and I did it when I was quite, junior in the profession. In terms of like grit, there was a big drugs case I did at the beginning of this year up in Exeter. And that was pretty much like Top Boy in the sense that there was an operation being run from South London but distributed up in Exeter. And what happened is that they caught these group of individuals because they were posting pictures of their Rolexes on Instagram and on Twitter. And what happened was that they found the money, they found drugs inside my client,
Inside?
they found the line.
Inside, sorry.
Yeah.
Inside.
They found the line, yeah, because they raided them when they were back in South London counting the money. And they had witnesses to say these were the individuals that were selling the drugs, and we still got acquitted.
Now, that would be.
That went after the camera. But yeah, that case was interesting because that was all technicalities. And it's just interesting in the sense that people see things like this on television, but I was literally just like reading through it. And it was quite disappointing because firstly, a lot of these kids were very bright, so I was quite disappointed that they were wasting their lives. But then they were just also very stupid as well because they were literally posting pictures of bags from the Louis Vuitton shop all over their social media, and this was part of their evidence. One of the guys, right, his bank account, how much money passed through the bank account? Maybe 50 grand? a week. and it was claiming job seekers allowance.
This is why UKIP's on the rise.
Okay, what people have to realise, right, is that a trial isn't an investigation about the truth. A lot of people have this kind of misconception that the purpose of a trial is to find out the truth. It's not. In every single Commonwealth jurisdiction, it's a fact-finding exercise.
Yeah.
So it's whether or not the evidence that's available to the court can prove the person has done what they're alleged to have done.
Okay.
And that's it. So in terms of my job, I defend someone on the basis that the evidence is either insufficient or there's an explanation. I sleep well.
Okay. Do you though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sleep well.
I mean, yeah, okay. Is there anyone or anything that you wouldn't defend?
You know, it's tricky. Like I had an issue defending sex cases, but recently I started doing a few. And the reason why those cases mentally are very difficult, because I had a case, historic sex case involving, you know, someone in a very prominent position abusing young boys back in the 70s, and that case was difficult because you have to read what happened. You then have to, you know, take instructions from the person, and you know, it's difficult when a person doesn't see what they've done is wrong, and it's just very, very difficult. Like for me, I like my job because I get to understand how people operate and work. And with those cases, there's a barrier. Like emotionally, I find it very difficult. Those types of cases, difficult. So any sexual cases,
So, hold on.
I find tricky.
Go on.
No, I think with the thing, because when I first started out as solicitor, I had to choose between civil and criminal law. And I see where Tunde it's come from, because you have to have this understanding to detach from your clients. And so with some cases, it's really hard to do so, and it's hard to understand how somebody thinks and why they did the crime that they did. And with crime,
If they did it,
yeah, if
alleged,
they
right?
did it.
Innocent until proven
Yeah, so I
guilty.
think it's difficult, but you have to then constantly focus on how to help your client the best you can, and that works with both civil and criminal.
But as a human being, as people that have females in their family, to be defending somebody who I'm pretty sure you both have been over 100% sure or 90% sure or 99% sure
Before you even answer that question,
that your client.
like let's correct a misconception. Like sexual offences don't only happen to women.
Yeah.
No, I know. Okay,
So-
yeah, okay.
So you know, just for clarification,
You're right.
I know, right? It's my job.
This guy. Alright. So when Femi was like, well, do you sleep okay? I'm pretty sure you do sleep okay because you're a professional. You know, if you wasn't a professional, you did, you know, but in regards to knowing that you are the reason that a criminal, forget whether proven innocent or guilty, that you know that a criminal is still walking roads to potentially.
The thing is, how do you know? How do you actually know? You don't know.
You never know.
You never know.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an illustration. I had a case where this individual was charged with armed robbery. So we sat down, we had 2 conferences, and he said, look, I didn't do it. I was, you know, with my friend Mike. We got drunk, played Xbox, just didn't leave his house. So this is contact Mike. I haven't seen this guy for 2 months, was Mike's response. So I'm now thinking, why this guy did it? Why is he lying for? Lo and behold, go back to him and say, look, we tried to check your alibi. He then says, okay, the reality of it is that he's having an affair with his wife's sister. And
Wow.
you know, the difficulty is that he can't call her to give evidence.
I need Mike. I need Mike.
Yeah. So that was the reason why he wasn't necessarily forthcoming with the truth. Sometimes when people don't tell the truth, it isn't necessarily because, you know, they're guilty. It may be because there is some other reason. There's something they're protecting or something that they're hiding. You know, I've had a lot of, you know, top, you know, perception-wise, people in, you know, subcultural society not go ahead with things because people find out that they're homosexual. So a lot of guys that, you know, you might see them wearing their Giuseppes, you might see them playing, you know, Movado in the car, but when they go home it's a very different story. And for those reasons, they haven't necessarily taken things to court.
And that's, I think,
Wait, things like what?
So for example, the one illustration I gave, there was an allegation of an assault in a club. So for the person to carry on the allegation, you'd have to say what he was doing in the gay club.
Oh.
Do you see?
What?
Do you see?
The thing is, you've got
So
your reasons.
there are lots. So that it's very intricate. You know, people kind of adopt an approach that, well, if you didn't do anything, you wouldn't get into trouble. But you know that's not necessarily the case, because stop and search is, you know, a good illustration of that not necessarily being true. And we need to kind of broaden our minds to think about, you know, there are genuine situations where people, you know, find themselves at the wrong end of the long arm of the law, but it doesn't necessarily mean they've done anything.
Because I think it's just black and white. It's not just black and white. I think if it was black and white, then you won't need guys like me and Tunde to help me. It would just be, okay, cut and shut case, they're guilty, send them to jail. And that's why we're here, to try and give the jury or the district judge or the high court judge the information to say, look, this is how we present our case. It's down to you to decide whether or not our clients.
In the UK, do you get to pick your jury? Or is the jury just selected for just
They've changed that. They've changed that.
Yeah.
Historically, you could, but it's changed now. You can object on the basis of bias.
Okay, now,
But-
hypothetically speaking, if someone was to, let's say, avoid jury service because the letter didn't come to the house, what would you say?
Just sound like.
I'm sorry, I cannot aid and abet a criminal.
Okay, well, what's he said earlier what has been his most interesting case. What has been your most interesting case, civil-wise?
So see, the thing with civil cases and the type of law that I do, which is mostly property and just general disputes, they're not glamorous or exciting, but they have interesting parts to it. And so
what's interesting? Tell me about interesting civil
right,
case.
see with the riots,
Yeah.
and they brought out the law about they can take your house.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa!
That's illegal. By the
Whoa!
way.
What? Wait.
No, they brought out this whole.
That's illegal. They could just take your
Yeah,
house.
take
If
it
you're
for what?
involved in the riots,
If you
they could
involve
take
in
your
the riots, they
tenancy.
can take your tenancy off you.
Okay.
But the thing is, because the way the media's built that up, it's almost like it's a cut and shut. They can take your house, but it's not that simple. They have to go to court. They have to serve notice. They have to give reasons for notice. You can appeal against the notice. You can go for judicial review. There's so many little technical ways to help people in civil law that it's interesting to me because I enjoy it, but to the wider public, it's not so interesting unless you're in that situation.
Why did you actually pick civil law over criminal law?
For me, I enjoyed the technicalities of drafting legal arguments and sending them to court or going to court on my own legal arguments. But what I found with criminal law, it just wasn't something that intrigued me long term. Although it has interesting bits to it, it just wasn't for me.
Why did you not go corporate? Either of you.
The interesting thing is that I do, so although I do crime, I do some quasi-civil work. So I do corruption, anti-money laundering, advisory stuff, and I'm making the transition into commercial litigation.
Okay.
So what I'm planning to do in terms of positioning myself is just to be doing that top level crime which kind of latches on. So for example, I'm advising individuals who the government can't prove are criminals about their tax liability. So people don't know the inland revenue. If they have suspicions that you're illegally obtaining money, they can then say, okay, you need to give us X amount of tax that you haven't paid, or they can initiate criminal prosecutions against you. So in terms of my area of work, pretty much I do anything that I want. Direct access, so people can come to me directly without going via a solicitor. And I've done commercial leases, I've done intellectual property disputes. I did a case which involved the estate for Elvis Presley. So there was an individual that was selling his music on a platform online, and he got sued by Apple. So
what was your involvement in that? What?
So I advised him. So basically what he
The
wanted.
guy who Apple was suing.
Yeah, so I advised him, and basically I helped him negotiate a deal where they didn't sue him if he was willing to give evidence.
Against what?
There's another individual that proceedings have been initiated against.
So basically, my man just snitched.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Because a couple of things that you said, and I'm sitting there thinking, I feel like I'm in an episode of Suits.
I was thinking
And what's the other one with the woman?
Good Wife.
And the Good Wife.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing stuff that you're saying, and I'm like, right, this I'm in an episode of Suits and the Good Wife. But so you basically just sat down and spoke to the dude and said, listen, rude boy, snitch on my man.
I didn't say that. What happened is they gave him the deal. And my personal view was that the deal that they offered him, I didn't necessarily think it was a good deal, to be honest. But at the end of the day, he didn't necessarily have the money to continue paying for legal services on a long-term basis. So for him, it made sense. Sometimes people make decisions not necessarily because they want to make the decisions, but financially or for other reasons. You know, in the long term, it's in their best interest. That's why sometimes people settle, not because necessarily they don't have any merits in their dispute, because they can't afford to carry on.
Is that, I think isn't that what 50 Cent tried to do when he done the whole file for bankruptcy thing to try.
That's different.
That was completely different.
Wasn't that, I was told that, or I heard that was so the woman
He could stretch out.
He could stretch out over a number of years, and she won't be able to afford legal fees, and then she would just end up settling. And it's like, yeah, cool.
Well, that was one tactic. Another tactic was basically it gave him an opportunity to hide his assets.
Yeah.
So it gave him time to reorganize his money. So, for example, if there had to become an evaluation in terms of his assets, he could then say, well, the court initially ruled this amount, but after review, I don't have that much.
Yeah.
So that was one tactic. The second tactic, again, it's a stalling game. Sometimes what people do in terms of litigation is that they just keep throwing paper and they delay and they delay and delay because it costs.
Because they have
lawyers charge per hour.
Yeah, because
do they charge per hour? I heard some people charge per minute.
I don't charge per minute. I charge per hour.
I heard some people charge per minute.
It's not one of those shows where we talk about how much money people make.
No, as you said earlier, I couldn't care less how much money people make. It's just the fact that when you're making money and you're positive, it's all.
So urban lawyer, what is that?
Lawyers.
Lawyers. What is the thinking behind urban lawyers?
So originally when I started it was urban lawyer. So the objective was literally to help people that were in a similar position to me. So I didn't come from a privileged background, had no one in the family that was a lawyer, but I had lots of people that were around me that needed legal advice. So the organisation, from its inception, had two objectives: help people in terms of legal rights and inspire people to pursue a career in law. As I kind of matured, I then thought in terms of long term, it would be better if it was called urban lawyers, because I'm not going to be around forever. And in terms of the legacy, there are lots of people that share my background that want to do the same thing so they can be involved. And that's what the objective does. Like, we've given away scholarships, we've helped people get training contracts, pupillage, and then we go out to communities and we give sessions on legal advice. And that's pretty much urban lawyers. We're on social media, by the way, Facebook, Twitter, we've got Snapchat.
Touching his face like a rapper. He's been hanging around with them too much. Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. You did that.
Okay.
You really did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, how do I go about, being involved? Just
we've got a
contacting
website,
you on
contact
social
details on the
media.
website, and that's it.
How many scholarships you give away in a year? For going in? To what? To do what?
To either do the bar vocational course, which is now called the Bars Practitioners Training Course, or the LPC.
Oh man.
I know. You're gonna catch me out. You're gonna catch me out.
Man, that's
what about your background? In terms of, you said you came from a poor background. How did you, let's say, elevate yourself? What was your route? What college and university did you go to?
None of that
made you pick law.
None of that is even important. So the most important thing, right, is that I broke that kind of soft bigotry of low expectation. Yeah. So the issue that a lot of people have is that they don't believe that certain things are for them.
Okay.
Yeah, so whether or not it's a lawyer, so I'm not necessarily encouraging you to be a lawyer. You can be a successful actor or director, or, a playwright, barber, entrepreneur. It's just have that aspiration. The difficulty that I had is that when I was growing up, most of the people I hang around with were criminals. A lot of my friends are dead or in prison. And bizarrely, when I first started my career, that was the reason why I got lots of work. And I got exposed to very big cases at an early age. And people that had come from the traditional establishment backgrounds were like, how can this person be doing so well and be doing all of these big cases at such a young age? Not knowing that, a phone call would come in and say, oh, can you look after such and such? Because people knew me, trusted me, and they felt that I'd look after their best interests. And it wasn't necessarily me doing a job to make money from it.
It's difficult because you have to do your research and you have to speak to a few solicitors to try and find the person that you want to deal with. And it's just human nature. You can kind of gauge from the person you're speaking to whether they're going to have your best interest.
But the thing is, the general public haven't got time to be ringing around solicitors because it's peak. I need one now,
That's
innit?
not true.
Like,
that's not actually.
Well, that's how we're made to feel by the police.
Now, everyone is doing their research.
Yeah, and there are apps. There are apps available. You can go to the Law Society website and you can actually punch in the discipline that you need assistance with, and you'll get a list of names.
But you can't do that when you're in the cells. Like, it's a bit difficult.
No,
when you're in the cells.
no, but in the cells you've got a duty solicitor scheme. Okay, and secondly, even if you don't have a duty solicitor scheme, my personal advice is that you should have the details of a solicitor anyway. To be honest, on your phone, you've got your GP. I think that the legal profession has to be kind of seen in the same light, that you never know when you might need assistance.
Yeah, I agree.
See, I agree with that. Going back to duty solicitors, because up until a certain point, I was of the belief that duty solicitors just work for the police.
No.
But then,
He's a duty solicitor sometimes.
right, and I've got a friend. You know this gentleman.
Dean.
Yeah, you know this gentleman, Dean. And it was only till he kind of got bigger in the industry that I realised everyone kind of has to do that for a certain point. So it's not necessarily, duty solicitor, they
So
work for the police.
tell us how that works.
Well, I don't do it. I don't do it. So.
Why not?
You're not a duty solicitor?
No. Oh no, I do.
Okay. I was just checking.
But
it's the same principle.
It's the same principle. How does it work?
Basically,
He was getting worried thinking that he works for the police.
No, basically, it's when someone gets in trouble, they don't instruct a solicitor and they're just stuck. So whether it's civil or criminal, you're put in a situation and the solicitor from a firm will be placed there and will just sit there and essentially say, either the courts, if it's a civil case, they'll say, do you want to speak to the duty solicitor? Or if it's in the police station, do you want to speak to the duty solicitor? It's up to you whether you want to or not, but I would always strongly advise, whatever situation you're in, speak to the duty solicitor, because they don't gain anything from you speaking to them. They're going to get paid either way.
That's what I was going to ask.
So
because a lot of people,
yes, so
their attitude is, I don't know this solicitor.
Yeah.
No,
But you see,
I'm
the
just
thing
gonna.
is, the smart thing to do with speaking to solicitor is that you don't know the law as much as they do, and you don't know what kind of basis you can be helped. At least if they're there and they're giving you some information to say, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that, but it's your choice. You tell me how to help you, and I can help you. But if you say I don't want to speak to duty solicitor, they're all corrupt, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face.
So isn't it a case of, I don't want to speak to a duty solicitor, I'm just going to say no comment to everything when I've been interviewed, and then
See,
when they release
the smartest thing when you speak to duty solicitor is that they will give you as much advice as possible. You're not paying for it to put it there, and two, you're in a situation where you're going into an interview with someone that's been trained, needs to train for like 5-6 years to elicit information from you that you don't even think they're getting from you. And even in civil cases, you're not going to be against a police officer. You'll be against a barrister from the other side, and they're trained to elicit information from you, and you don't even know they're getting it from you.
But what I'm
the
saying,
smartest thing to do is have someone sitting there.
so you're saying, get arrested, police, if you don't have I'm just talking about them, like,
Sequence of events.
Sequence of events. Something's happened, been arrested, you don't have a contact details for a solicitor that you know of or someone can recommend.
Yeah.
The police say, would you like a duty solicitor?
Yeah.
You know what you've been arrested for. I'm going to be in the cell for 8 hours and I'm going to be released after that. What are you saying, because it's for the people. In 100% of the time you get arrested, the police offers a duty solicitor and you don't have your own, are you saying take that solicitor?
I would say take that solicitor because
I wouldn't say that.
No.
Right, but
the thing is, I would say it's better to have something.
So you would say don't go in there yourself. Is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, the problem is because even if you speak to a duty solicitor there,
Yeah.
you don't have to go with them. Or if you're lucky to get released, you don't have to go with them.
So what are you saying?
My personal opinion is that I agree that it's in your best interest to have legal advice. However, I don't think there's a blanket rule that you should just accept any duty solicitor that's available to you. The problem that you have is that because of the cuts that are being made to the profession, people don't necessarily offer a service based on quality anymore. Yeah. So people are getting paid
They see
regardless, but
I
you know,
just-
people don't necessarily have people's best interests, and I've seen it.
They see
And
the thing
it's
is-
not that easy to change if you had someone in the police station, because if they sign legal aid forms, you don't have to go to court and
You see, the
ask for
thing is,
transfer.
on a civil basis, which I do duty advice schemes when people go to court for all kinds of injunctions, disrepair, possession cases, potentially losing their home. So people are quite worried and stressed in those situations. So when you're in a worried, when you're worried and you're in a stressed situation, it's very hard for you to make rational decisions. So you're panicking, and if, say, the police or someone from the other side, from the council, offer you a deal to say, look, do this and you'll be okay. When you're stressed and you're worried and you're thinking this is the only way out, you're more likely to do it than not. Whereas if you at least have someone there...
Police ain't gonna offer you that deal.
No, but I'm saying no, but for civil cases, they offer deals all the time.
Fair enough.
So at least if you have someone there to say, hold on a sec, that doesn't sound right, because I was in Basildon County Court. I can't mention any of the facts of the case, but I was in Basildon County Court. Stressed out couple. They were offered a deal. The deal was completely bogus. The court staff said to them, do you want to speak to the duty advisor? I was sitting on my phone, just doing some research.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Well,
research.
How many likes can I get to
How many girls are gonna like my pictures
I
today?
don't know about that. No, but basically, so then the couple came to me and said, I've been offered this deal, I don't need to speak to Judy. I'm like, are you sure? I said, yeah. I said, okay, what's the deal? They broke down the deal to me, and I had to explain to them, do you realise if you take this is what's going to happen? I said, no, we didn't know. I said, I went in with them, completely worked something else to their advantage, and they said, oh, wow, thanks, I didn't realise that this could happen. I said, the reason why you didn't know is because you're stressed and you panicked. And in a stressful situation, is only so many people are able to cope and adapt to that. Everyone else will think of the easiest route out that they believe is available.
Okay.
So just off the top of your head, yeah.
This looks like an interesting.
I know he's
Man,
going to try and catch me out.
No, I'm not like, no, like what's it's not even that interesting. I was just gonna say, what have you ever lost
Me.
any cases that you actually still think about? Because you know it's not about the ones that you get away with and you win, or like no, but not get away. That you help people, you help other people to be enlightened to your client's innocence. But what ones have you still reoccur in your mind?
I think there are cases where you think to yourself, could I have done better? Could I have used different areas of law? Could I have thought about something? But ultimately, I think when you lose a case, it makes you better, because you then learn that you're not going to make the same mistakes again. And I've not lost too many. Actually, I've not lost any.
Wait, so does that mean?
But
No.
I've not lost.
Listen, they're on their form today, yeah. So
No, you see the thing. I think when you lose a case, it makes you not want to lose it again, and you have that feeling that I don't want to be in control of someone's life, and then ultimately I have to say to them, look, you've lost. There's nothing I can do to help you. So you try to think and try to step up in the game.
Tunde, you must have lost bare.
Have you?
Someone
said you must have lost bare, you know.
Some of the criminals that you're telling me about, there's no way they all got away with all this stuff, all these stories.
This is like reverse psychology, where you're trying to bait me into saying, I win X amount. At the end of the day, I've got a good reputation. I work very hard, and we're not going to discuss numbers, but I've won more than you think. In terms of cases I remember, there are probably two. There's one when I was quite junior in the profession. It was an individual from Holland who travelled to Brazil and smuggled 15 kilos of heroin in handbags. And what happened was that he got caught because the flight detoured to London because of adverse weather conditions. Had it gone straight to Spain, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the flights from Spain to the Netherlands are domestic, so you don't go through customs. Yeah, and I realised that the other day when I was travelling, I was like, wow, I didn't go through customs. I was like, now I understand.
Because it's all within the EU.
Yeah,
right?
so it counts as a domestic flight, and I was like, oh, that's why he did it. And I realised why he had that particular route. And that case was tricky because that was the first time I had someone go to prison So it wasn't the first time I lost the case, but the first time someone had gone to prison, he got 12 years. So that was like a shock to the system. I still remember it, and I don't think I slept properly for a few days after that because it was like, whoa.
So do you know what went wrong in
The case was overwhelming against him. You know, his evidence was that he bought the handbags for his daughter and for his girlfriend, but you know, where were these people? He hasn't spoken to any of these individuals for a number of years. He couldn't explain how the drugs got into the handbag. He just said, oh, he bought them, and the person that gave him the handbag must have not known there were drugs in the handbag. So the defense didn't really give me much, you know, scope.
You had nothing to work with, really.
No, so factually, you know, it was the right decision. The second case was another individual. He had 23 kilos of cocaine, East London, and he got 5 years.
Wait, huh?
Yeah. I always remember that case because of the disparity between that one and the first one I did, which was a smaller amount, but the first one was importation, and the second case there was some compelling mitigation where I could kind of minimise his involvement in the organisation.
Okay.
But still, 5 years was a good result. It was like, whoa, 23 keys, 5 years, good result. So I remember it for that reason. 2 cases.
do you just look at? I don't know, because I seem to get a sense of, and going back to programs like Suits and.
Don't slander me, you know.
No, I'm just because it's
I'll write
weird.
that pre-action letter.
I mean,
He's drafted it in his head now.
yeah, I'm
ready.
ready. That's I'm chilling. Let's wrap this up.
I think we should have these guys back every 6 months.
No, yeah, please. Could you come back, please?
Like, as a professional, you know, that might cost.
If we have to pay, then
Depends
we.
in what capacity.
if
Well,
we-
you have to get on camera. If they have to pay,
I'm not paying no one.
If we have
barber money is long, yeah.
Listen,
His barber money
if we
is
have
long,
to
yeah.
pay-
no. I'm all good. A shape up will be
You
fine.
know
You
that
have
he's
to pay.
cutting Dizzy Rascal, Jason Derulo. That barber money is long. Like I'm alright. I'm still
I'm playing.
building.
At the end of the day, like, I like what the cause is about. So yeah, I'm
Yeah, we need you
I'm-
back regularly,
I'm
and
involved.
even to get a professional. Because
You know what?
can I speak, please? Even though we're all professional, people still don't take us seriously. So when there's big events or major things happen, just to get you on the show ASAP to just get a different perspective on what's going on. But it's been amazing.
Quickly, if you have questions for these guys, just leave a comment and just say whatever your question is, and then next time they come on, we can ask them those questions.